What's going on, Bears fans? The Bears were able to pick up a win versus the Dallas Cowboys. They won that game 31 to 14, and there's a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. This was actually the first Bears win at Soldier Field since October 6th of 2024 when they played the Panthers. So it was awesome just to see them get a win, and especially in front of the fans. It was nice to see the Bears not get booed at home for once. It was an awesome game. Romo Dunze had 62 yards and a touchdown. He scored the first touchdown of the day on that broken coverage where he was in coverage by Trevon Diggs, and Trayvon Diggs slipped on the play, and Roma Dunze improvised, ran straight to the end zone. Caleb found him. They connected for six. So that was a great way to start the game. They got the ball back on that drive from a Tyreek Stevenson forced fumble, which was one of the best plays I've seen in a long time. That was a great play by Tyreek Stevenson. DJ Moore also got into the end zone. That was another great play by also DJ and also Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams was able to evade some pressure, and DJ Moore settled on his route and was just sitting wide open in a zone in the end zone, and Caleb was able to find him. But I think the big receiver news for that game was Luther Burden. He had three catches on three targets for 101 yards and a touchdown. Majority of those yards coming on that 62-yard trick play, the flea flicker from Swift back to Caleb Williams, where Caleb Williams threw that ball on flat-footed 62 yards in the air. And then post game, Caleb Williams said that in practice when they were running that play, that he underthrew Luther Burden every single one they tried. And so in this game, he just threw it as hard as he could, and it was a great catch by Luther Burden. He actually looked like he caught it with his fingertips. So it was definitely not an easy catch, but he was able to bring it in, get into the end zone. And that was probably one of my favorite Bears plays I've ever seen in my life. That was absolutely awesome, and it's great to see Ben Johnson's impact and scheme ability come to life on this Bears team. Caleb Williams definitely had one of the best games of his career. He was 19 for 28 with 298 passing yards and four touchdowns with no interceptions, and he had a rating of 142.6, and he also won the Tom Brady Player of the Game award. So Caleb, it was Dallas's defense, so I'm not getting too overexcited about it, but he did what he was supposed to do. He had an amazing game, and that was great to see. Another thing to talk about is another young player, Colston Loveland, made his big first impact on the Bears. He had a big catch for 31 yards up the right sideline, but he would later exit the game with a hip injury. So we'll see where that goes. Hopefully, we can get him back for next week when we play the Raiders in Vegas. But overall, I think the reason this offense was able to go so as well as it was the offensive line. The offensive line played absolutely amazing. Caleb Williams wasn't sacked a single time. And a cool stat that I have from Next Gen Stats was Braxton Jones became just the fourth left tackle to not allow a single pressure in a game this season. So he responded well. I know a lot of fans have been displeased with how he's been playing, but he had a great game versus the Dallas Cowboys. Granted, their pass rush is depleted, but to not allow a single stat all game just shows the consistency that his coaches challenged him with. They said coming off of that injury, that he was starting to get worn down towards the end of the game, and that's when he wasn't playing his best. They challenged him to play a good 4 quarters of full game of football. So he definitely responded. And then another thing that I noticed, the stats aren't great, but Kyle Monungai, he looked really good running the ball. He looked super hard to bring down. He was bouncing off tackles just like he was in the preseason. He looked absolutely great. I'd love to see him get more touches, honestly. Um, but other than that, to go towards the defensive side of the ball, I thought Tyreek Stevenson had an unreal game. He definitely responded after that horrible game in Detroit where he had a perfect passer rating. And in this game, he had that forced fumble on the sideline, which was just a great effort play. Most players would just let him go out of bounds, but he was able to strip the ball, and it was actually probably the first toe tap fumble that I've ever seen. So that was wicked cool to see him get in there and get the turnover and just start the game off on the right foot, because that was Dallas's first drive of the game. So he made his presence known all game. He had a couple pass breakups and he played really well. Another player that we've been waiting to see kind of break out or do something meaningful is Tremaine Edmonds, and he definitely made his presence known yesterday. He had 2 interceptions off Dak and led the Bears in tackles, which was great to see. He was all over the field yesterday, had a really good game, and it's great to see him step up because he is one of the higher paid players on this team. And also with TJ Edwards injured, it's we need him to make up for TJ Edwards being out, and he certainly did. Another player who's been not performing as well as he'd like to recently has been Montez Sweat, but he was able to get his first sack of the season yesterday. And it was actually his first sack since December 26th in 2024, which is pretty wild. He did have one sack taken away from a penalty last week, but if he can start to affect the quarterback consistently, that's going to be a big plus to this Bears defense because it really all does start in the trenches. It starts with pressure because when you get pressure on the quarterback, it's going to help the DBs play better. It's going to put the quarterback under pressure and throw balls under pressure. And I think that's definitely what we saw. Dak definitely did not look good yesterday at all. And then definitely another bright spot on this defense was Gravon Dexter up the middle. He had a couple nice quarterback hits and multiple pressures that game, and he's definitely one of these players we're going to need to step up if the Bears are going to have a chance to make the playoffs this year. But overall, it was a pretty awesome game for the Bears. It was America's game of the week. Had Tom Brady on the call, and the Bears definitely stepped up and showed what they can do when they're operating on all cylinders. So it was a really good game. I'm sure every Bears fan had a great time watching that. So this is officially the first Bears victory Monday of the season. So that's awesome to see there. Um, and then as far as next week, we play the Raiders at 3:25 in Vegas. So that's going to be another challenging game, but I'm definitely looking forward to that. That should be a good game, and I think definitely a game that the Bears should have a chance to win. I will be uploading a preview, a game preview on my YouTube channel. That'll be up, I think Thursday. I'll upload that Thursday. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Please like the video as well. Leave a comment down below what you thought of this Bears game this week. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.